So now we come to the quest to get the final bottle. And I always found this to be really difficult and annoying as a kid. I never actually followed her. Apparently if you follow her, which requires going around the entire island trying to make sure she doesn't see you, because she suddenly turns around constantly, and at some points the game will trick you into running into her sight. Apparently if you do follow her, Link will actually meow like a cat multiple times to make her think that there's just a cat following her. I don't know why she falls for it. I mean, like, is he really that good at imitating one? But yeah, what you can do instead is completely ignore her and she'll keep going in her programmed direction even without you being there. And if you can't take too long just wandering around the island, or she'll have already left the shop by the time that you go there. And you should probably stall for a little bit, like just to make sure that you don't go there too early and she runs off. Like it's kind of tricky, I guess. It's much easier on you than just like doing the actual stealth. Like I just hate stealth in general. I don't understand why people like it. Like it's just so tense and slow and boring. So yeah, just deactivate the windmill. I think you have to have the wind blowing north for some reason. And after spending a long enough time, yeah, 75 seconds, not including the windmill cutscene, yeah, just wait 75 seconds and she'll be there and you will never have to follow her at all. I never followed her. I just, like, I followed her, but I got caught. So I always just used a code to get the bottle. I actually think she looks kind of better poor. Like, I think she looks more sympathetic. Like her face. I think it's because of the freckles. She looks very sympathetic. Although, I guess her eyes are kind of, like, obvious rich girl stuck up. So basically, her father paid his entire fortune to bribe the pirates to get her to come back, even though I'm pretty sure Tetra would have, like, told them to do it anyways. And like they had no problem with getting the poor girl to come back. I guess the poor girl had, like, no, but she couldn't have given them to the pirates because then her father wouldn't have gotten rich. So why were the pirates able to, like, why did they agree to rescue the rich girl taking a bribe, but they had no problem with returning the poor girl home? I don't know. Just like it's like the rich guy wasted all his money because he didn't technically need to pay them to save her at all. But yeah, you can get a heart piece and a treasure chart and rupees for doing that random minigame. It's fun, but it's just entirely random, so. And this is really boring because you have to wait for a really long time before it finally brings you up here. And this is entirely luck-based. If you don't fire the arrow at exactly the right time, then you're not going to fire it into the searchlight to reactivate it. And how blind must Link be now? Having that extremely powerful yellow beam of light just instantly flash into his eyes. By the way, I think that when you're on that wind direction changing screen in the GameCube version, you don't necessarily have to wait for the arrow to start pointing in the direction that you want before you can press the A button. You can actually just, like, say you want to change the wind direction to southeast. Just use southeast on the control stick, and then press A immediately, and you'll change the direction just fine. So that's convenient. Obviously, I'm going to be skipping past as much of the sailing as possible because there's really nothing to talk about. So now we've started the first optional island, Horseshoe Island, which is a golf course in a Zelda game. Yay! It's very finicky. Obviously the chestnuts can't go through the tentacles, or at least I don't think they can. It wouldn't make any sense if they could. And you can't go through them either. So if you walk too close to the flags, then you'll make this unwinnable, and you'll have to play the Song of Passing to get rid of them. But don't play the Song of Passing when you're standing close to where they would normally show up, or you'll effectively have wasted your time. You need to have the wind blowing in exactly the right direction, and it's easy to not be right about what direction you need it to be in, because you can only make the wind change for 8 directions. So it's not like there's like 12 directions or anything. It's like if you look at an analog stick, it's not just 8 directions that you can go in. It's technically there's something in between northeast and north and east, for example. Yeah, this is very finicky. It's not like you're always guaranteed to know where it's going to go when you use the leaf against it. I mean, at least they have an island dedicated to making use of the whole blow objects away property. Like, it's weird. The Gust Bellows from Skyward Sword is basically the Deku Leaf, but with only one of the abilities. Like, they took the Deku Leaf in Skyward Sword, and they split it into 2 items. The Gust Bellows, which was much better at the whole blowing away items things, because it would always blow stuff away. Like, it created a continuously bursting out of it gust of wind that never ran out. While the Deku Leaf, you just use it once. So, it's not as good. Plus, you need to have magic in order to blow stuff away with it. Which is stupid. It's a Deku Leaf. Like, it's a leaf. Like, it should keep looking like a leaf, regardless of how much magic it has in it, shouldn't it? But, yeah. Like, there was the Gust Bellows, and there was the Sailcloth. That was basically, well, I say the Deku Leaf, but it's not like you could glide forwards with it. It was just a parachute that you used to make it so that your fall wasn't as bad. And you should probably only wait to get here until after you've already entered the cave. Because getting all the way back to that cave is kind of annoying. But yeah, they give you treasure charts a lot in this game. It's kind of redundant though, because, well, you do basically need 4,000 rupees to beat the game because it costs so much to decipher all the charts. There's still the fact that they throw so much money at you, and especially if you're exploring every island like I always do when I play the game, it doesn't really matter how many treasure charts you find. Like, I've never found all of the charts legitimately. I always just use codes. I explore every single island. It's not like I used up every treasure chart I had to get every treasure I could from the sea in this playthrough. It's not like I did that. But, like, I did everything I could, and I swear it's like you have to look up a guide to find out where all the treasure charts are. I don't think I found all the heart pieces either. But yeah, like, the game throws so much money at you. Like, if you're exploring the islands, then it's not really that big of a deal fixing the whole money crunch. I'm just glad they're actually using the rupees. Like, the thing is, I just think that the island exploration is what the game excels at, because the dungeons are annoying, and the bosses are annoying. So, and like, even the combat is kind of padded out. So, the best thing about the game is exploring the islands. I love the satisfaction of completing tasks. There's so much to do in this game. And none of it's really all that tedious. These are basically called skull platforms. Like, practically every island has a skull platform. Like, towns don't have them, which makes sense because you'd wonder why those monsters didn't go to the town from there if they're so close to them. I don't really see the point of these things, though, in universe. Like, why are they here? Like, I know that they're guarding chests, like, the chests containing rupees that you can find anywhere, and treasure charts that lead to rupees you can find anywhere, and monster spoils that you can find from beating regular enemies all over the place. Was it really necessary for Ganon to erect these things? I mean, it's not like they're really accomplishing anything. They don't really seem to make sense, they're just sort of there. I'm going to be showing off every single one, so it's a good thing that I have a lot of trivia to read off of. Like, I'm going to be showing off every island, but I'll only really talk about it when there's something to say. By the way, if the footage ever looks like, I don't know, slower than normal, that's because I had to record it with the screen recording square of Bandicam. So I guess it captures less frames that way, even though it records just fine for PC games and emulators. So, if the footage doesn't look as good, that's thanks to Bandicam. Because I recorded it and it came out just fine in HD 60. Like I said, I had a hell of a time actually editing this game. Anyways, like, it is pretty nice that you can use the seagulls to get, like, rupees and stuff from here. I'm also going to be showing off all of the fish hints, but of course I'm going to be spamming A and B through the text, so it's not really that big of a deal. It's never really explained what these fish guys are. Like, they're just sort of there, they're just sort of a force of nature. Yeah, I'm probably going to be skipping past most of my dealing with the skull platforms. Like, just assume that I defeat all of the enemies from now on. Because, like, I'm going to show them, I'm going to show what monsters are in them, and then I'm going to show what I get from them. That's basically what I'm going to do. And for the wreaths, I'm probably going to show off the entire process of conquering one. And for all the other wreaths, I'm just going to immediately cut to every single time I destroy one of the things I need to destroy. So there's going to be a lot of cuts. So, I was talking in the previous part about speedrunning glitches. Like, for the Earth Temple, I mentioned in the main playthrough that you can actually make it so that the mini-boss music is constantly playing for practically the whole dungeon, because you skip the mini-boss. Well, after you do that, and you were going through the dungeon in reverse, well, you're kind of stuck now because a wall's ahead of you. And when you're playing through the dungeon normally, you would make that wall sink because you would go through the process of destroying a bunch of Poes and Moblins. So you're stuck behind that wall, but you could just save warp back to the start of the dungeon, so it's not really that big of a deal. So there's a chest nearby, so what you do to progress from there is you use storage glitch again with the chest and everything, and once again climb on the giant statue, but now go to its back, fall through the wall, and you can skip past it. Fun fact is that the blue bubbles can only hit you when you're on the bridge. At least that's what I've heard. So I guess if you like fly through Deku Leaf, you won't have to worry about them. Walk inside the right wall in the mirror room with the fog and hit the mallet. Walk into the wall left of the mallet, and you can use the Deku Leaf to clip through the vents. And then you can do it again on a pillar to fly out of bounds and open the door behind the statue you crumble with light to progress. This is a pretty interesting looking island. Like, it seems to be made entirely out of, like, floating cubes. It seems to look more like a man-made structure than an actual mountain rising out of the Great Sea. When you think of Skyloft, which is basically in the sky, and then you think of how they flooded the world to make the Great Sea, and everyone fled to the mountaintops, which became the islands. Basically, isn't this just Skyloft all over again? Like, sure, there's a sea instead of a sky with like ground below. But again, like, Hyrule is so far below the sea, and the islands are mountaintops, so they're a high altitude. Link is once again high altitude, just like in Skyloft at the beginning of the timeline. So it's like, no wonder there's plenty of mountaintops for him to live there. It's just like, it's basically like we're back in Skyloft. But yeah, I guess I don't remember finding it entirely intuitive that you could just climb onto that island. Like, I always remember, like, Deku leafing over there. I hate this puzzle so much. I really do. It's so hard to figure out exactly what you're supposed to do to get past it. It doesn't help that you can't just... Well, if you could bring the blocks that you could pull wherever you want, then I guess you would make the puzzle unwinnable because you would make the tower not high enough anymore. But yeah, eventually you get all the way up here. Ah, God, it's so bright! So blinding, how are you supposed to... And then you just use the mirror shield. And let's see what kind of treasure I got for all of that work. This better be worth it. It's a really convenient thing that you can actually still fly the Deku Leaf indoors, even though there's no wind to be found. Like, somehow you still fly forwards. Money? Really? They throw so much money at you. I could have gotten that from just following a treasure chart.